Hi everyone, and welcome back to Herzography. So I've had a couple of questions that I'd like to kind of answer just to all of you at one time. The first one is, why do you need any filters in your photography bag? Now there are some issues that we encounter in everyday shooting that are very distracting and that really can't be corrected in post-production. A specialized filter can help you achieve better image quality. So to name some of the popular photographic filters out there, of course there are polarizers, there are neutral densities, there are clear protective filters, glow diffusion, gradated, astro filters, infrared, and other special effect filters. We will discuss many of these in more detail later on. But for more info on black and white infrared, which is very close to my heart, click up here and there'll be a video on black and white infrared. So on to some very common issues that we encounter are those pesky reflections coming off of metal, water, glass. So the most important filter that I always carry with me is a polarizer filter for both my main camera as well as my cell phone, because reflections can be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to remove in post-production. Now, when using a polarizer filter on your camera, you can rotate the filter so you can adjust the amount of reflection that you don't want and that you want to reduce those reflections by a certain amount. So by carrying and using a polarizing filter, you can reduce the amount of distracting reflections that are present in everyday scenes. A polarizer filter reduces reflections, it can enhance colors, increases contrast, especially in landscape photography. Let's look at some different polarizers. Here is a circular polarizer, and there are linear polarizers, and then there are dark polarizers. When I was shooting landscapes many, many years ago using a view camera and needing a polarizer, there was really only one choice at that time, and that was a linear polarizer. So here is polarizer that I purchased. This one is probably about 35 years old. It's 105 millimeter. It's big, it's heavy, got the screw mounts on there, and but this is all we had back in those days was linear polarizers. Now most of you have heard of circular polarizers. So what is the difference between a linear polarizer and a circular polarizer? And it's a really good question that gets, there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding linear polarizers. Now, until DSLRs came around, we only needed a linear polarizer. But why? Both linear and circular polarizers start out exactly the same when being manufactured. But a circular polarizer is made up of two pieces of glass. A linear polarizer, yes, a circular polarizer starts out as a linear polarizer, but it also has a quarter wave plate to repolarize light specifically for DSLRs. So the linear polarizer blocks light waves in one direction. The quarter wave plate converts that linear polarized light into circularly polarized light. So the quarter wave plate in the circular polarizer repolarizes the light to circular polarization so that it is not affected by semi-reflective surfaces in the camera, in a DSLR camera, such as the autofocus or metering systems. So when using a DSLR, you need to use a circular polarizer. Since a linear polarizer will not let light, polarized light, through a DSLR mirror to the lens meter or autofocus system. On a DSLR, if that light is linear polarized, it will render either the metering or the autofocus to be ineffective. On mirrorless cameras, you can use either a linear or a circular polarizer, but linear polarizers are recommended for mirrorless cameras by optical experts. Circular polarizers create color shift regardless of the quality of the polarizer, and that shift needs to be corrected in post-production. Whereas linear polarizers, especially those from Maven filter, do not have any color cast, making them more effective and easier to use. So there is no reason to expect that a circular polarizer would have inherently less effect than a linear one, since they both consist of a linear polarizer on the front end. Circular polarizers are still in mass circulation from the DSLR days and are still being manufactured, even though there are some manufacturers that still do not sell a linear polarizer, even though they still make them for the circular polarizers. If you are using a mirrorless camera, be sure to use a linear polarizer. These linear polarizer filters, as I mentioned, are optically better for you, and they are neutral, no color cast. Now, of course, the ones that I recommend here are from Maven filters, since they make the finest filters that have real color neutrality. Another question I've had is, how does the quality of a filter affect the final image result? Because there are filters that range in prices from low to high. Well, when you put a filter on the front of your lens, this definitely affects your resulting image quality. Poor optical glass in front of your lens, or a dirty filter, will just degrade your image quality. Low quality filters can introduce notable flaws such as color cast, reduced sharpness, visible degradation in image details, flare, and reflections. Now, you've spent a lot of money on your lenses, so using a low or poor quality filter will ultimately degrade your image quality. Using a high optical quality glass filter with superior coatings and construction materials will give you the best results that your lens can deliver with minimal interference. Always make sure that both your front and rear lens surfaces are clean and both surfaces of your filter are clean. Dust, even on an expensive filter, will degrade your image quality. I have used filters from all of the major manufacturers throughout my career. I mean, all of them. And I am confident in saying that the highest quality filters available today are from Maven filters. Now, another question that has come to me is, can you stack multiple filters on top of each other? And the short answer is yes, of course you can. But, there are a few caveats when stacking. Each filter has the potential of having dust, and there are 2 layers of possible dust on each filter. So if you stack 2 filters together, you have the potential of adding 4 layers of dust. So just make sure that they are very clean. Also, if you are not using premium grade filters and you stack them, then you have a much greater possibility of image degradation and the possibility of having vignetting as you stack filters on top of each other. We will be making more educational videos using different kinds of filters very soon. So I hope you like and subscribe so you'll be notified of these upcoming videos real soon. Thanks for joining me.